architect in one of the MNC. Okay, so that's a pretty information about myself. Without any delay, let's get into the today's topic. So the topic that we are going to discuss is serialization. Let's make this as an interactive session, right, guys? Instead of I teach and then you guys ask me questions at the end. So let's make it as an interactive session. Okay. So can someone tell me what is the serialization that you know? Anyone? Even if you are wrong, not a problem.
Sir, process of writing objects into the file.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, KK. Actually, this was planned at 9:30, but I had some emergency. I mean, I had to take some appointments of doctor, so I had to move it to 8. I hope you understand that. Yeah. So any other answer? I see one answer like object state into writing the object state. Any other answers from anyone?
Serialization to transferring the data through the network and saving the database or file systems.
Okay. So let me tell you, serialization is a process of converting object into a series of bytes and convert or transfer over a network. Okay, I repeat, serialization is a process of converting object into a series of bytes and transfer over a network. Okay, this is a definition of serialization. Okay, now in some of the question they may ask you, does the serialization applicable for static variables, static methods? By looking at this definition, what is your answer? Is the serialization applicable for static variables and static methods?
No, sir.
Answer is there in the this definition itself. Look at it and then let me know. Guys, what did I
Sir, we
write
are
here?
talking about objects, so static is not applicable here.
Yeah, static variables does not belong to an object. It belongs to a class. So can I say that does the static variables can be serialized?
No, sir.
No, right? That is a simple answer. Now let's get into the uh, what you call the serialization. How to do the serialization? Okay, I'm creating a new package. Form dot Ashok IT dot. Okay. So now in our what are the objects that we generally serialize in our projects?
Other classes, like
Sorry.
model classes, like other classes, model classes.
Okay. Now, why this serialization is required? Let's see. So you have in your projects, you have a UI framework, correct? And you have a Java or Spring Boot framework, and then you have database. So can I say this is one layer, this is one layer, and this is one layer? Now, what you do, whenever you get a information from UI, you will take it in the Java, and then you transfer it to a DB and then store it. Now again, you take the data from the DB, using Java and then you transfer it to UI and then display. That means, can I say my data is transferred over a different network? Correct? Yeah, how you have a communication between UI and Java? It's a network only, right? HTTP protocol, right? How the web applications are working? HTTP protocol, hypertext transfer protocol only, correct? That means these protocols are nothing but part of network only, right? So this is a classic example, like when you're transferring uh, UI to backend, backend to UI, then you need to convert the object into a series of bytes. Now, how do you do that? We can do that with a serialization. The entire topic is called as serialization. How this serialization is achieved in Java? Using a serializable interface. using a serializable interface. So I'll tell you, let's talk about this. Let's create main method. Now what I will do is let me create. So what do you send over the network? Generally, employee information or department information or any object that has a setters and getters, right? Say for example, in your object, you are taking the login. You have a login table. Then you will store username, password, is personal identification, like first name, mid name, last name, mobile number, Aadhaar card. So if in database, if you have a table called personal identification, then for this personal identification, you need to get the data from UI. So UI, you get a JSON object, right? And then what do? In the Java, you prepare a entity object or Pojo class, correct? In that, you have a personal identification object, and then inside that, you have a first name, mid name, last name, everything. You will set a object and you will send it. That means any object that has a setters and getters where you are storing the information, that has to be transferred over a network, right? So for time being, I'm using a employee object. I'm creating a class called employee. Inside it, I'm creating int emp id, string emp name, double emp salary. Okay. Now let me create a constructors and then setter getters. Source, generate setter getters and setters. Okay. Now source, generate constructors using the fields. Now I created a employee class with a constructors. Now what I'm doing is, now the question is uh, writing the converting the object into a series of bytes. How do you do? Writing it to a transfer it to a over a network. In order to do a transfer over a network, now I don't have a what you call web application, right? What I will do is I will convert the object into a series of bytes, and then I will write that object into a one notepad document. And then I will give that notepad document to you guys. You can read it and then construct a original object. That is nothing but a deserialization. First of all, how do you convert that? Let's see that. So we need to convert the object into a series of bytes. Let's write file output reader or file output stream f equal to new file output stream. So let me give you the file location. Let's go to this property. So, so in this location, let me create. So I just created one .txt document. I did not create it in this location. I am telling in this test.txt document, create a output, convert the object into a series of bytes and store it. Don't worry about it. You will understand in another few minutes. So now I'm in order to write data to a file. So I'm using a file output stream. Okay. After that, we need to use buffer output stream b equal to new buffer output stream. And I need to give the file reference and then b dot write object. So which object I want to try? So employee, correct? Employee e equal to new employee. And I'm creating constructor 123 is the employee ID and employee name is Karthik and employee salary is 10,000. Okay. Now I want to convert this employee object into a series of bytes and transfer over a network. Now, once I do that, I will do write object or
Where we will use object output stream.
no, let me use file output reader. Let's write write on. Let's use E. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, I have to use a object output stream. Yes, correct. Object output stream, because I am writing a object, so object output stream. Now I can get write object. So you can see write object. Yeah. So write object I am writing. Okay, done. Now let's run this program and see what will happen. I'm just running the program and see what will happen. So let's debug as Java application. See what happened? I am getting exception. What exception I am getting? Not serializable exception. Correct. So and not say let's execute this and see what is the exception. Now I got an exception saying that java.io.not serializable exception. And which object I am trying to serialize? com.ashok it.serialization. There is a package name. Inside this, which object I am trying to serialize? Employee. Correct. So now I am getting an exception that this object cannot be serialized. Now, how do I serialize it? That's a question, right? Sorry, go ahead. Someone is saying
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Implement serialization concept.
Yeah. So now the first thing, if I am, see, why did I use all this code? The file output stream, I am writing anything that you want to write something to a output in the form of file, you have to use a file output stream. Now, object output stream is the one which will convert the object into a series of bytes. Now, I am doing object output stream and then write object. This write object is responsible to convert the object into a series of bytes. What is a series of bytes? I will tell you later. I will show you later. But I just followed this code. Then I'm getting a not serializable exception. That means I'm not able to serialize this employee. That means I'm not able to convert this employee object into a series of bytes and then transfer over a network. I'm not able to do that. The problem is any object that you want to serialize it, that has to implement serializable interface. So in the serialization, the first thing you need to do is, what is the thing? If you can you serialize a object without a serializable interface? No. So the first thing you need to remember is any object. When I say any object means any object that has a setters and getters in our real-time project, you might see all the object that has a setters and getters implement serializable interface, right? You understand? Have you seen any Pojo class in your project that is implementing serializable interface? Now you understand why they are using that. Have you guys seen serializable
Yes, sir.
implementation for your model
Yes,
class?
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the reason that if you don't write it, what will happen? Whenever we are writing a object state or converting into a bytes in order to transfer over a network, it cannot be serialized. That is the reason all the Pojo classes in your project will implement serializable interface. Now, what is the interface? Interface will contain abstract methods, right? Now, what is a serializable interface? How many abstract methods does it contain?
Here.
No, it doesn't have anything.
Marker interface.
Yeah, a interface which does not have any abstract
Marker
methods is
interface.
called as marker interface. I repeat, a interface which does not have any abstract methods is called as marker interface. Now the question is, sir, if it is a marker interface, how does Java know that it has to be serialized? Right? Now, the implementation will be there in the JVM. So now whenever your class is implementing a serializable interface, and this method, this write object is the method which converts the object into a series of bytes, and then that will be stored in this file output stream. Now, this method will have a logic. Now, if you go inside this method, inside the JVM, they will write, see, write object to overwrite, write object. Oh, so here you have write null, write handle, everything, right? Write class description, write class, etc. Right? See, write class description. If you go inside this, what they do is inside the JVM, the Java creators have written the code in such a way that if a class or if a object, any Pojo class that is implementing serializable interface, they will convert the object into a series of bytes. And then using this write object method, they will store. Now, earlier I'm getting a not serialization exception, correct? Now that means in future, whenever you get a not serializable exception, what is the solution?
Implement a
Implement
serialization.
serializable interface.
Where you implement a serializable interface. Should I implement the serializable interface in this class?
No, Pojo classes.
Whichever the class that you want to serialize it, or to the right object, whatever the object that you are sending, that you are doing a serialization. That means the Pojo class or model class that you are trying to serialize is not implementing serializable interface. Correct? Are you getting?
Yes.
Yeah. Now let's run further. Now I should not get error, right? Now in this location, do you see? Let's go to this. This is the same path where I'm having this workshop. Let's go till here and see, do I have any? See, test doc earlier, these are test document that is created earlier, correct? When I'm getting an exception. Now what I will do, I will delete this. Okay, let me stop this program and then delete. Okay. Now, do I have any test.txt folder in this location?
No, sir.
Yes,
No. Now let's run the program now.
the automatic created.
See, it has not yet created, correct? Now, see, file output stream, what it will do? It will create a folder, sorry, location file. See, it has created a file. Do you have anything in this file?
No, sir.
Yeah, no,
Nothing.
sir.
Nothing. So that means what is the output? What is the functionality or what is the work that file output stream will do? In the given location, if the location is accessible, it will create the document. Here test.txt document. If I keep .xls, it will create a Excel sheet. If I create .doc, it will create a .document, right? Word document. Now and then let's look at the next two lines of code. See, write object. From the write object, earlier I am getting exception. Now the exception is not there. That means write object has converted the employee object into a bytes, and that object state is written to a this file. Now let's open the file and see. See, do you see? This is how the object is converted into a series of bytes and stored in this object file. Now, do you guys understand what is content of an object? Now here, what is the data that I stored in this object, guys? Employee object. Employee name is Karthik. Employee ID is 123. Salary is 10,000. But by looking at this object state, will you be able to understand?
No, sir.
That means, are you able to? So that means now object state is nothing but what? Whatever the object contains. That means contains means data inside a object that is converted into a series of bytes and written to a file. Now, now the problem is now here you are sending this over a network, correct? Now during the network, see when you do a password, when you click on login, what they will do every time? They'll do the encryption. How do you know that your details are correct? Whenever they are matching it, they have to do the decryption, right? That means when you have an encryption, you have a decryption also. Similarly, when you are converting the object into a series of bytes and sending over a network, at the network end, you have a you have to convert the series of objects back to the original object, correct? So that means why do we use all this? To read the data object back, right? If not, then it can be hackable, right? So now from this object, this file is containing the employee object. But I do not, by looking at this, I do not know what does the employee object is containing. Now, reading this file and then constructing the original object back is called as deserialization. I repeat, reading this file and then constructing the original object, or in the original object, what is the employee name? Karthik, employee ID 123, and then printing that is called deserialization. Now, some people will ask me, sir, here you itself, you know the details, but why do you need during the deserialization? Assume that some of students you have joined today class, right? Some of them are not there in this class. Now, for example, or what I will do is here, this is a test document. Assume that you did not listen whatever I have explained. You do not know, or let's time being, I am stopping sharing, guys. Now I am changing my object data. Okay. Okay. I am changing my object data and I'm running my, I have ran my program. Now what I will do, when I ran my program, now let me share the screen to you guys. Can I say that I have modified some changes? In my employee object, I some employee ID or employee name, something I have modified. By looking at this, can you guys tell me what is the salary of an employee? What is the employee ID of an employee? Can you tell?
No, sir.
No. Then if I give this file to you, I will send this file to over a what you call WhatsApp or email, anything. I will give you this file. Now, will you be able to read this file and then construct the original object back?
No,
Yes or no? That is nothing but it's deserialization. Now, what is the reason? Why do we need the deserialization? See, whenever you are doing a serialization, object state is written to a file. So, can you understand what is the content of an object by looking at this? Can you tell me what is the employee ID by looking at this file?
No,
Does
sir.
anyone guess? I have modified it. Earlier, I have written 1, 2, 3, but while I stopped the sharing and then I have modified it. You guys do not know what is my employee ID, correct? So now, since I do not know the data, now I need to construct back. Like, see, I am doing a serialization. Someone else needs to see. I'm in India. I am there, and I'm transferring. So I don't want to give the information over a network. Then what I will do? I will construct the object state like this, and then I will give it to my friend over an email. Now, what he will do? He will read this file and he will write some program and he will construct the original employee back. That is nothing but deserialization. So that he will understand what is the data. So KK, if whichever the object that you want to serialize, all the objects you have to write through the right object. Okay. Now let's do the deserialization. I'm creating a new class. Deserialization example. So let me write main method. So that means this is the code my friend is writing. So whenever I have sent him the document, what my friend is doing, he will write a deserialization and then. So in order to deserialization, what am I saying? I am giving this notepad document to my friend, correct? Now what does my friend has to do first? Read this notepad document. Am I right? In order to read the data in the Java, what do you do? File input stream,
Input
correct?
stream.
A
Yes.
file input stream f equal to new file input stream. Then what should I give? Where is my file location? Where did I keep? See, when I sent a data file to my friend, he will put it in some my Windows, desktop, or documents, etc. Right? So copy this location, and then what is the file name? Test.txt. Correct? Now, what this line of code will do? It will read the document. Agree? I did not perform any deserialization. This will read the document. Once you read it, now, in order to, whenever you are writing, whenever you are converting the object into a series of bytes, what method you have, what class you have used? Object output stream. Now we have to use object input
Input
stream. OB equal to new object input stream and F. So, see, in this, which is the method converting the object into a series of bytes while doing the serialization? Write object method, right? So now read object method, OB dot read object. There is a method called read object, correct? Read object method is the one which is responsible to convert So once the file object output stream, what it will do? It will read the series of bytes from this file, and then this read object method will construct the original object from this series of bytes. So this is what? It's a byte data, right? From this byte data, it will understand, this read object will understand, and it will construct the original object. Let's do employee E equal to. So I need to do the typecasting. Because this read object method return type is object. So I need to do the typecasting. Now, once I typecast it, once I get a original object, what I will do? E dot get employee ID. I'm trying to print it. What is the employee ID? What is the employee name? What is the salary? Okay.
Sir, how do
Employee
you
name.
know it is employee object only?
Because during the serialization, I am doing employee object only, right?
Yes, sir. But while doing deserialization, how you know that it is employee object only, sir?
So your that information we need to tell, right? So which
Okay.
object you are sending, then only we can construct the right. See, you're not telling what is the content inside an object, but you can tell what is the object that you are serializing. You understand, right?
Right, right.
See, inside an employee, what is the employee name? What is the employee password, login details? That I'm not revealing, but I'm just revealing in my entire project. I have to transfer that employee object over a network. So that you need to know. Or what you can do is you can typecast it to object, and then see for now the question is, sir, in my project there are 100 objects. How do I know? Then this return type will give you the object, right? Now you can write instance of. If it is instance of employee, you print. If it is an instance of department, you print that. Like you have to write if and else condition. Okay. Now let's run this, debug this program and see first. First line, what is the responsibility of this first line? Read the file, correct? This line for line number 12 is not related to deserialization or serialization, guys. It is just reading a file. See? If the file is not there in this location, what will happen? If in this location, the file is not there,
File
or
not
the
found.
location is wrong. Yeah, file not found, right? So that is a checked exception. See, you got input stream, file input stream. See here, location and then FD, etc. Now object input stream and then read object. See, now let's look at what is the read object I got. Employee ID is 456. Employee name is Karthik ABC. Employee salary is 10,000. Now, how do I compare whether it is correct or not? Let's go to my, see, I stopped the sharing and then I have modified the content. You guys may not know that, right? Now let's go to serialization example. What is the object contains? Employee ID is 456. Employee name Karthik ABC. Employee salary is 10,000. Now, whenever I print my deserialization, is it printing the same data? Yes or no? Is it printing the same data?
Yes.
Yes, this is nothing but a deserialization. What is a serialization? Converting the object into a series of bytes and sending over a network. And what is a deserialization? From the bytes, converting the original, getting the original object is nothing but a deserialization. Now, you might have heard one of the, what are the different ways to create a object in Java, right? Did anyone face that question in the interview?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. One way that everyone knows is by creating a new. Using new keyword, you can create a object of any class in Java, right? So another way is during deserialization. See, in the deserialization, are you creating a separate object or not? Yes. So the one of the way to create a object in Java is using deserialization. Using deserialization. Any questions so far?
Sir, can you please explain serialization UID also?
Yes, I'll come to that. But any questions so far?
Actually, okay, I understood, sir, serialization. But before serialization, already file system is there, sir. Why especially in the serialization?
So now file, see, if I don't write this file output stream, file input stream. So how do I tell you that I am writing the object data into a series of bytes? See, if I am not doing this, okay. Now this way, what this method, what these two lines of code will do, it will convert the object into a series of bytes and then a series of bytes. That's it. But how do I tell you that? How do I show you that? Correct.
Okay.
See, now if I open the notepad, I'm able to show you that this is the object. See, first of all, if I don't show you this, you don't say, why do I need? I know already the details, right? But if this is a object state after converting into a series of bytes, this is how it looks like. From this one, do you know what is the employee name ID? No. In order to show you that, what is this? It's a file. Now I need to create a file. In order to create a file, what do I need to do? I need to use a file output reader, file input stream, right?
Yes, yes.
See, this is not mandatory, guys. See, in order to explain to you guys or whoever is writing the program, whenever you Google it, file input stream or serialization, you get this line also. But this line is not there, not needed in your real-time projects, correct? You understand now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now deserialization is nothing but converting the original object back. Now let's remove this default. Okay. What I will do is now let's create in the employee class. So
Sir,
let's
one small
create.
doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Can you please go back to that class? So, sir, when you're commenting the line number 12, why you're not getting error in 13, sir? Because you're passing the object of that file
So,
input stream.
so this I'm getting. Look at here.
Okay, okay,
It is not visible. It is so small.
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now what I will do is what these variables, guys?
Instance
Instance
variable.
variable. Now let's
Instant.
create one static variable. Okay. Now static variable belongs to class, correct?
Class and
Public static. Tell me some variable name, guys. Uh, department name.
default.
Department name equal to CSC. Okay. Now, sorry, my bad. It should be string. Let us take EIE. EIE is nothing but Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering. This is one of the department in the this one. Now, so it's a static variable. Now, so whenever I now since I have added one more variable, now do you think that I should these serialize? I should run the serialization example again, or is it not needed? I have modified the source code of my employee class, so I have to serialize it again. What I'm trying to tell you is, can I serialize it non-static static variables or not? Right now, let's run the serialization program again. See, I have ran. The object state is written. Let's see. Let's verify whether the object state is written. Yes. Okay. Now, see, in the whenever I do deserialization, I will get employee ID, employee name, employee salary. Apart from this, what do I have, Elsa? What is the another variable I have?
Department.
E dot DEP name. So I don't have a setter getter. I have not created. So directly I'm trying to print it. E dot DEP name. See, let's see what it will print. Okay. What do you think? What it will print? As the definition says, only object. Correct? That means what it will print? Any answer? No?
AI. MTR null.
Not null. It's a EIE. EIE is nothing but it's a static variable. Whatever the object that initially you have had, that only it will print. Now, what I will do is during serialization, I will change. Okay. Now, E dot DEP name equal to mechanical. Okay. Now, let's change it to let me create one more object. E1 4561 ABC1 1 lakh and IT. Okay. Now, can I say that, see here, whenever you are creating a class, see, when the class variable will be set during the class loader, first static variables will be initialized. We have load, link, initialize 3 steps. During the load, link, initialize step, this static variable will be set. Okay. Now, during the serialization, I am trying in this, whenever I create an object, using object, I am trying to modify the name. See, using an object means it can be a reference variable, it can be object you can think, right? So I'm modifying. So that means, can I say, if you modify in one object, what happens to the static variable? All the objects has to be modified. Now, either if let's see whether it will display the mech or IT. It will display the predefined value only, not modified value. So let's change it to E1. I'm serializing E1 object. Okay. Now let's run the program. Serialization is done. Now let's deserialize run the deserialization.
Answer line number 16. You have
See,
not changed.
sorry.
Line number 16, you not change even.
Okay, even fine. Let's run the program. Okay. Now let's run the deserialization program. See, what is the output I can see still? EIE. That means whatever the changes have done in this serialization program, mech or IT. See, what do you think, guys? Generally, a static variable can hold the memory only once, correct? If I'm modifying through E1, but still it will modify in all the places, right? Because the memory will be allocated only once for a static variable. Ideally, it has to show IT, but it is showing EIE. The reason is, let me tell you, now whenever you are doing a read object, what it will do? It will create a new object. Whenever it is creating a new object, it will go to this class. So whenever it is creating a new object, what is the predefined value you have given first time? EIE. So that is the reason EIE will be printed. But for example, if you don't initialize this variable anything, then what is the default value for this variable?
Null.
Null. So now if I serialize it and then deserialize it, what is the value I will get? If I deserialize it, what is the value I will get?
Null.
Null. That is because that is the default value. That means what is the value of a static variables after deserialization? See, if you think that serialization is performing the static variables also, then what is my, for example, here e.dep name mech I kept, e1.dep name it I kept. Whether I'm using a e object or e1 object, this is a static variable. All the objects will be modified. The latest value is it. So whenever after doing the deserialization, if it is printing, can I say that static variables also serialization is happening, correct?
Yes.
But what is the value I'm getting? After deserialization, what is the value I'm getting? I'm getting null. What is the meaning of null? Why I'm getting null? Because during whenever you are creating a object, whenever during the object creation, what is the value you have given? You have not initialized anything. If you don't initialize anything, string is a wrapper class in Java. What is the default value of any object in Java? Null. Correct?
Null.
So generally, the people will give you whenever you are study, you study like this, correct? Like DEP name, something like that, right? But when it comes to interview, they'll give you some object like this, right? Now, after deserialization, what do you think? Will I get null?
No, sir.
No, whatever is initialized, you will get that object. So this is the important point you need to remember. So now the question is static now. Now, can I say that? Now you are getting, whenever I deserialize it, I am getting EIE. Does it mean that serialization is happening for static variable?
No, sir.
No, because if it is serialization is happening, what is the value you should get for department name?
IT.
IT, either IT you should get or a mech or anything. You should get any of these two values, then you can say that serialization is possible for static variable. But what is the output I am getting for department name? I am getting EIE. That is nothing but your class level value, right? So that means what is the concept here? Serialization is not possible for static variable. Even if you try to do the serialization for static variables, what is the value you will get? What is the initialized value at the class level, correct? If it is not initialized, you will get null. If it is initialized, you will get that default value.
Sir, but we can update the static variables, right, sir? Only for instance variables, every time it will create the new object, but for static variable, we can update the values, right?
So that is what I am updating here, right? But that is ignored, correct?
Okay.
See, here, the way you are, if I am updating within the class, that is different. But here, I am creating a separate object and using that object I am creating. So that means once the object is created, So that means whatever it is there during the initialization only will be considered. Later, if you update it, how do you update? Using a class name or a reference variable name. That is not, that is ignored by the deserialization. That is the concept here. It will look at the initialized value, because when during the deserialization, what it will do is this read object method will call the default constructor, right? And then default constructor, from the default constructor, it will look at employee. So whenever it is trying to look at the employee, it's a class. So static variables will be loaded first, correct? So here your static variable is initialized, so it will have the initialized value only. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Now let's look at how, see now here, let's take employee will have a password also, correct?
Yes, sir.
String login ID, string password. Okay. Now, so let's create a setter getters for this. Login ID and password. Source generate getters and setters for login ID and password. Okay. Now, let's create a constructor with this login ID password also. Where is that source? Constructors using. Okay. Now, during serialization, let me give user ID is Karthik123 and password is Ashok IT. Okay. So my password is Ashok IT without space. Let's remove the space. Okay. Now, whenever I'm transferring this object over a network, what do you think? What do you think I should do? So do you see, now I will write object state to a Word document or notepad document, etc. After that, do you think should I serialize the password also? Do you tell your password to your friends or anyone?
No, sir. No, sir.
That means you see, now what is the scenario here? You want to serialize the employee object, but certain parameters of employee objects, I don't want to serialize it, correct? So that means what I'm trying to say is you have an employee object. In employee object, you have multiple parameters. You want to serialize all the variables except password, correct?
For that, we need to add an annotation also.
No, I'll come to that. So you
Okay.
understand what I'm trying to say, right? Here, let's run the program and see. I'm running the program. Serialization is completed. Employee object I print. Now in this one, deserialization, let me print the password also. Sys out. System dot out dot print ln. Now e dot get password. E dot get login ID. Now let's run the program and see what I will get. See, are you able to see my password? Ashok ID? So that means your password and sensitive information is also getting serialized. Do you need to serialize this password, guys, in real life?
No, sir.
Not required. That means what is the concept here? I want to serialize an object, but certain parameters of an object, I don't want to serialize it. Then whichever the variable that you don't want to serialize, that you make it as a transient. There is a keyword called transient in Java. Whichever the variable that you want to, that you don't want to serialize in the object, that variable you need to make it as a transient. Now, since I modified it as a transient, then I will run the serialization program because I have modified the code. So I have to run the serialization again. See, I did the serialization. Object is converted into a series of bytes and stored. Now I am running the deserialization. Earlier you are able to see Ashok IT, right? My password. Now look at, do you see my Ashok IT password? See, first name is employee ID, employee name, salary. These three. Fourth parameter, what do you get? Password, what are you getting?
Null, sir.
Null. That means is the object is your password getting serialized?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
No, it is
No,
not
sir.
serialized,
No,
right?
no, no, no. Yes, yes.
No, it is
So that means,
those are
yeah. So now you might have seen in the interview what is the use of
Okay.
transient keyword, right? So transient keyword is the one through which you can not serialize a particular variable. Now the question is, after transient, what is the value? What is what is the difference between output of a deserial after doing the deserialization? What is the difference between static variable and transient variable? For static variable, whatever the initialization is there, that you will get it. But now let's put here itself. If I'm making this variable as a string, let's initialize it to ABC. Okay. So that means I have initialized the password to ABC. Now, what do you think? Should I get ABC or should I get null?
Null.
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 Because that variable itself is not serialized. And why it null? It's a string object. What is the default value of a string?
Null value. Object.
Mhm.
Object. String is an object, so you will get null. Now let's put one more in the employee. Let's make it as a, let's put one more transient, sorry, int DEP number. I'm just putting some number, guys. 98. Okay. Now, let's run the serialization. Let's put okay. E dot set or E dot DEP number equal to some number I'm setting. Okay. Now I will run the serialization. Okay, serialization is completed. Now, after deserialization, I'll try to print that number, DEP number. What do you think? Output.
0 will come.
So it's a primitive value, correct? Int is a primitive. So what's the default value of a primitive variable? 0.
0.
Hence, that means what is the difference between static variables and transient variables after deserialization? For transient variables, whatever the default value of the data type, you will get it. The default value of int data type is 0. You are getting that. Default value of string, any wrapper class or any user-defined class, the default value is null. You will get that. But what is the default value of a static variable? It depends on your initialization. If you are initializing with some value, you will get that. If you don't initialize it, you will get null. Hope you understand. This is most frequently asked question in the interview.
Sir, can you please once revise why the default, whatever value we initialize for the static variable that gets printed instead?
So whenever you're doing the deserialization, this read object method will create a object. I'm telling you, right? Whenever you
Yes.
create an object, what will happen? You need to know, first of all, whenever what happens whenever you are running a program, class will be loaded, correct? Class loader comes into picture. In the class loader, when the class is loaded, there are three phases: load, link, initialize. During the load, the class will be loaded using a JVM class loader. And during the initialize step, there are three steps: load, link, initialize. During the initialization step, all the static variables will be initialized. Now, whenever you do read object, you are technically speaking, you are creating an object from the stream. You're creating an object. Whenever you're creating object, first employee class will be loaded. During the load phase, the class will be loaded. Same again, initialization phase will be there. In the initialization phase, it will look at what is the default value of this employee class for this static variable. It is EIE. So that means EIE will be set. If I don't have any initialization parameter, it will be null, correct? But here, during the deserialization, it will load the class and then it will create an object. So hence, during the load, whatever the value is there, it will look at that.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now let's look at why this, how the, so now here, how this serialization is happening. That's a question, right? So JVM understand that what JVM will do is JVM will create something called serial version ID. JVM will create serial version ID. What is serial version ID? It's one number. It's an int number that JVM will create. How it will create? By looking at your package structure. When I say where in which package my class is present, employee class, see com.ashok IT.serialization, this package structure, and then it will look at all kinds of variables you have, methods you have. That means that is the metadata of your class. the JVM will look at the metadata of your class and then it will create serial version ID. How it will create? It will use SHA algorithm. SHA is nothing but secure hash algorithm. I repeat, by using your package structure, variables names, method names, or that is entire thing is called as metadata. So JVM will look at metadata of your class and then it will create a serial version ID. How it will create? Using a SHA algorithm. What is SHA stands for? SHA stands for secure hash algorithm, which we do not know it. Since it is, as the name itself is telling secure, only Java creators know. They have written, they know how this algorithm works. You cannot find the code for this. So using this algorithm, it will create one number. That number is called as serial version ID. During the serialization and during the deserialization, the serial version ID should be same. Now, do you see in the below the employee, do you see one yellow color symbol here, guys? Light yellow color here.
Yes.
So what
Yes,
is that?
sir.
What it is telling? The serializable class employee does not declare static final serial version ID field for the type long. Correct? So that means I did not declare the serial version ID. So if I don't declare anything, JVM will create and then it will understand. Or I can create it. Let's click here. Add default serial version ID. See, look at here. In your projects also, Tori is not speaking. Please go on mute. Yeah, thank you. In your project also, you can see that this serial version ID will be created by you guys only. Because if you don't create it, whenever you change it, the Java JVM will create the new one. So here, you can create your serial version ID. It's a long number. One L is nothing but any long number in Java will be represented by L. So do you need to keep one L only? No, you can keep 2L, 3L. This L will tell you that it's a long variable. Any number you keep, no problem. If you don't put it, JVM will create it. If you put it, JVM will ignore it. Now, so this is a serial version ID. I have kept it. Now let me run the serialization. Okay, I have run the serialization done. After doing the serialization, let me change this serial version ID to 4L. I just change it. Now let us run the program of deserialization. It will not happen. See, it is telling you invalid class cast exception because what did you do? You have modified the serial version ID. See, employee local class is incompatible. See, serial version ID is 3. The local class serial version is 4. That means, can I say that this serial version is the principal component that is used during the serialization now? What did I do first? In my employee class, earlier I was not using this one, correct? Did I use this one earlier whenever I explained like from past uh, 45 minutes I'm explaining? At that time, did I use the serial version ID?
No.
If you're not using, JVM will take care. It will create. Okay, you don't need to worry. But can you create? Yes, you can create. What is the number you can give? Any number, any long number you can give. Now, what I have done during the serialization, I have given number 3 and then I have done the serialization. During the deserialization, if someone is modifying this, can the deserialization is possible? No. See, look at here. That means this serial version ID will plays a major role during the serialization and then deserialization. You should, whenever you're doing a serialization and deserialization, you should have the same value. Now I kept it 3 and then run the deserialization program. Am I getting the output? Yes. So now how the serialization is possible? In order to do the serialization, a class which you want to transfer over a stream or over a network, that class should implement a serializable interface. Now, by looking at the package structure or metadata of a class, JVM will create a serial version ID. How it will create? By using SHA algorithm. What is SHA? Secure hash algorithm. Now, by using this algorithm, JVM will create. And if I don't, is it mandatory to mention the serial version ID? No. If you don't mention it, JVM will create on your own. If you want to mention, you can mention some long number. But this long number should be there, should be same at the time of serialization, at the time of deserialization. Hope the one who asked a question on serial version ID, is it clarified?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
In real time, they will use default one, sir, or
No,
either.
we use some number.
Okay, sir.
In
Thank
real
you.
time, we use some number, because if you give the control to the JVM will create based on your package structure, right? So what do you do in your projects? Most frequently, you add the new variables, setters, getters, etc. Right? So better to use the user-defined one. And have you ever seen anyone modifying this variable name number?
No,
No.
no.
If you modify, immediately your manager will come to you, right? Yeah. So
So,
it's
sir,
not,
is it a
you can
good
modify
practice?
it, but what thing is, you can modify it, but you make sure that after modification only you do the serialization and deserialization both. But if you first you keep one three value and then do the serialization and then modify and then do the deserialization, it won't work. Okay.
Oh, both classes are linked up, sir.
Yes, because see, here when during the deserialization, which object you are getting employee, it will go and look at your employee class and the serial version. You see, from this, what does JVM will do is, see here, when you are writing this object state to a network, JVM internally write. See here, you can't see, but it will write by looking at this JVM. This read object method will go to the JVM. So JVM has a flexibility to read what is the serial version ID from this data. Okay, it has read it as 3, right? Now it will compare that is the same in the employee class or not. No, it is having 4. Now 3 is not matching with 4, so it will not do the deserialization. Hope you get it. Earlier, what I have done is I made it to 4, correct?
Yes, sir.
First, when it was 3, I have done the serialization first. Now, at the time of deserialization, how it is identifying? Whenever you do the read object, what Java will do is, from this file, it will identify what is the serial version ID. How? Again, it's a secure hash algorithm. Using secure hash algorithm, it can identify the serial version ID. See, the serial version ID also will be written to your object state, but I cannot identify that, right? So from this file, it will identify that the serial version ID is 3. And then in the original class, it is 4. Since both are not matching, it is showing you that incompatible class cast exception, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir, if we change variables also, it will be same like EMPID, we are initializing some value, right?
Mm.
Uh, After doing serialization again, if you do some changes and if you do deserialization, it will take that object from.
No, it is not a static variable, right? It belongs to an object. Here you initialize employee ID to 1, 2, 3. Okay. And here you change during a object, you change it to during serialization, you are initializing with
4,
4,
5,
5,
6.
6. So 4,
Yeah,
5, 6 only will come because
yeah,
employee ID is not static variable. The whatever the concept I have explained, that belongs to a static, correct?
yeah. 4, 5, 6 is okay, sir. Now we'll do serialization in object. It will be having 4, 5, 6. Again, I
Yes.
am making like 6, 7, 8. At that, after I will do deserialization.
No,
It
no.
will take
That
4.
means you are making 6, 7, 8 when you are making. After doing a serialization or before. See, after this line you are
After
doing, you are changing.
serialization.
Then how does Java will know, right? See,
Okay.
see here, if you do the change value of employee ID to 7, 8 or something, some like that number, which you have, see, before, see, this is the line which is doing the serialization, correct? At the time of serialization, what is the value you have? 4, 5, 6, right?
Yes, sir.
Before this, whatever you do, that it can do the serialization. It will convert into over a network and then pass it. But after you do, how does I know? How does the Java know, sir? Correct?
Okay.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Before
Yeah.
writing object, how many ever times you do the change, latest change, because what is the object? It's inside a object, you're changing one variable. So that means for that object, there is a specific memory will say. In that memory, you are modifying the value 5 times. The latest value will be serialized. After
Yes.
serialization, if you do, how does Java know that this is the value I should do? Correct? You understand?
Yeah. Yeah, sir. But in case of serial version ID also, it will be same thing, no, sir. That during object
Yes,
creation.
it is same. But before, see what Java will give you is, now let us change that E dot 456, correct? Now you are changing here. So what do you think you should get? It will get, see, let's change it to E dot set employee ID is to Now here first, whenever the object is created, I kept 456. Now I am changing it to 6565. Now I am changing it to 8790. So before doing a write object, what is the value you have? 6565. These only will
Yes.
be coming.
Yes.
This is you modified afterwards, so which you don't get it. Let's run. I think you can also try, but I'm just showing. See, I'm getting before how many ever times you do the change before the writing object for an instance variable, that only will be transferred. Because the reason, see here, it is as simple as that, right? You after you have written a serialization, you are modifying. How does this write object will know that, correct?
Yeah. But in case of serial version ID, it is getting no, right? After we are making
So,
changes also.
so serial version ID, what it will do is whenever you are writing a object, see here, this object data is transferred, it's written into a series of bytes, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Whenever now I have modified 765, correct? Now, whenever you are writing 765 object state, everything is written to this file. Now, in
Yes.
this file, you have a serial version ID also. Okay. Now, what is the serial version ID you have?
3.
4. Sorry, 3.
Mhm.
Now, if you modify it, the first check that Java will check is whether am I doing the correct transformation or not, correct? So what the Java will do is from this file, it will read the serial version ID, it will get is 3. But the current serial version ID is 4. These two are not matching. That means the Java is thinking that this is not the file. You have done the serialization. So that means whether you are whenever you are going to some house, you will check whether if the flat number is same, you will go no, right? You need to
No.
check the apartment name, colony, everything, correct? It is the
Yeah.
same thing as like whenever you are doing the deserialization, first it will make sure that am I doing the deserialization for the correct class that is serialized. So during the serialization, you have a serial version ID as 3. But now during the
It-
deserialization, someone modified and it changed to 4. If you are doing a deserialization, you are doing wrong, correct?
Yeah, got it, sir.
Yeah. So
Sir,
While doing
this is the
deserialization, it will check serial ID, version ID, and it will
yes.
not
If it is
check like
matching, then only it will
previously.
go further.
Yeah,
If it is not,
it will
see,
not check for
yeah.
the remaining data. Whatever the data in object only, it will take while
Look at here.
running.
It is also a static variable, not an instance variable, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Static variable. What did I tell you? What is the initialized parameter? It's there. It will look at that value, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, but already the file got created, no, sir? So
Yes.
why it will look at the code again? So it has to just deserialize the file.
So if I modify it, then how does the Java should make sure that you are doing the correct file deserialization, right?
Okay.
So that is the reason serial version ID will be checked. Okay.
Sir,
If
what will
we
be the
modify
best
remaining
practice?
data also, it will not mind, right? Just it will look only for serial version ID.
Version
If you
ID, yes.
modified also, old object data
So
only
that is
can.
what I have done, right? 1, 2, 3, and then I have modified it. Yes. Just try that. Okay.
Sir, how to
The
add new
transient
objects to the
One
existing
person
file,
at a
sir?
time, please. Yeah. Sorry.
How to add new objects to the existing file, sir?
How to add new objects to the existing file? What does it mean?
Suppose for one day we serialize some 2 3 objects, sir.
Hmm.
After few days, again I added a few more. To the
See,
same file I
object
added.
serialization is like here, whenever you're doing a write object, here, you call this write object for the new method again, correct? Write object, even.
But the file is same, no, sir. Will it be overwritten or what?
So you write a mechanism in such a way that you don't overwrite the previous one. If you have if you don't do any change for the existing object, the same will be loaded, correct? If you modify it, it will change. It's as simple as that.
No, sir. File output stream means it always create a new file, no, sir.
Yes, it will create. See, but it is overriding the previous one, correct? See, here I'm explaining that
Of course, sir.
to show.
You are actually doing we are doing with static data, right, sir? But what if the dynamic data is there?
Even if it is dynamic data also, in the dynamic data, you don't write a file, first of all. Okay. In your project, do you think that you will write a file?
No, sir.
That means, why am I writing this file? To show you that this object state is written to a file. Okay. In your real time project, you don't do all this. Your Spring Boot framework will take care of all this, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that means the file writing will not be there, right?
Right.
So
We'll use databases.
whichever the object you are trying to transfer, like using from the REST API, you send the object return, correct?
Yes.
So how does it will go? It will look at the pre-defined framework, right? Spring Boot
Yes.
framework. In the Spring Boot framework, if you look at it, whichever the JSON object you are sending, inside the JSON object, you might have multiple objects also, correct?
Yes.
All those, it will, so there is one, I don't remember exactly, but if you look at the REST endpoint, annotation, post annotation and all, in that classes, it will be present. Okay.
Okay.
So, sir, what will be the best practice, whether writing the long value for serial version ID, or let JVM decide that? Because
Just we in general in project we write the serial version ID, because if you're see in projects we might change the project package structure also, correct? Class structure also we might change, correct? In sometimes I can create one more sub package inside this package, so you don't give the ability to JVM, you write in your on your own. Okay. Yeah. Guys, this is about the serialization and deserialization. And I see likewise, I do teach core Java, collections, multi-threading, everything. So I'm sharing the thread demo classes here for you all in the chat. If you are interested, you can watch the demo classes. That will be helpful for you guys. In the threads, I have completely explained like there's separate course on the threads. Like we talk about thread pool, executor framework, etc. And in the collections, we talk about how does the array list works internally, how the collection framework is working, how array list works, how hash map, linked list, stack, queue. I do teach data structures like sorting, searching, algorithms, etc. And then core Java. So currently the collections and data structures is going on. And if you are interested, you can join that too.
In threads, in real time, most of the people will use executor service, sir.
Yes, that is what I taught in the threads. So separately, so generally what I observed is when you are going for a core Java, they just teach you what is the definition of a thread, how many ways the thread can be created, correct? No one
Yes.
teaches executor framework, join method, lock mechanism, etc. Right? So that's what I have taken separate thread workshop. Like if you want to join again, like again, same problem, right? People will teach OOP principles very good, but when it comes to threads and collection, they'll ignore. So separately, I had a thread workshop recently completed 10 to 15 days back. If you want, you can enroll for this. So this is what we have covered. Threads.
So everything covered in that workshop, sir?
Yes, see, you can see on my screen, whatever the content I'm showing, like object lock, class lock, serialization, different thread states, notify method, yield method, join method, executor framework, callable, single thread pool, cached thread pool, fixed thread pool, schedule thread pool, a deadlock, future interface, volatile, re-entrant lock, retry lock, cyclic barrier, semaphore, thread group. All this will be covered, and I have shared the notes also. And before going into that, do you guys, are there anyone who are part of my threads or core Java? Anyone who are part of my threads?
Yes, sir. Manas, yes.
Yeah, Manas, can you please be little loud? Can you share your experience or feedback?
Sir. Actually, sir had explained in both core Java OOP principles, and also in thread, he explained each and every framework with practical examples. So it is very easy to understand whatever sir has taught. We were not knowing before thread how it was working, and sir has showed all internal implementation, and he has explained in a detailed way. So it made us understand very easily. So I hope this is one of the best training. I mean, you can take that class so that it will be helpful for you. You can easily understand what all the topics that are taught. You will never forget that.
Yeah. So the one who asked the question, like executor framework and thread pool, right? So I have taken like today I have explained the serialization like the what do you call the theory of just maximum 5 minutes, right? After that, I have explained the concept using programming. The same way I have done entire whatever I teach, I follow the same thing. Yeah.
So,
So
sir, in this list, difference between feature and comfortable feature is here, right?
yeah, yeah.
Sir, is it free workshop or when the class time?
So
Is it
this, whatever you are joined now, it's a free workshop, but this is not the free workshop. It takes 30 days to
okay?
complete this. I mean, when I say 30 days, per day, 1 hour. It's a
How
30-hour
much, sir?
class. It is
How
around
much?
close to 2000, I guess.
Wait,
So
is
what
that
you can do,
currently going on or when
it's
it is
just
going to
completed. No, it's
next
just completed.
when
You can listen to the recordings.
we need to buy those recordings?
Yes, I mean, when you enroll for this course, they'll give you, you'll get notes, code, recordings, everything, and you'll have access up to 1 year.
Means
If
you're
we
not
get
going to
any
do live
doubts, sir,
classes, sir?
Live classes, I mean, I do not know when I will be starting next, but we just completed the recently. If you want to have a live, then you need to wait for some time. And I cannot
Okay.
guarantee or promise you at when I will going to take the next one, because currently I'm taking the data structures and algorithm. We just class started with collections. So in collection, the way we are going to learn in the collections is, first collections we are going to learn the internal implementation of all the, sorry, internal implementation of all the predefined data structures like array list, hash map. We just completed the demo classes of collections. So we just completed the demo, like 6 classes, and we are yet to start hash map, linked list, stack, and queue. And then I'll talk about the advanced data structure topic like time complexity, space complexity, bubble sort, dynamic programming, graphs, matrix, pattern printing, and these are the programs that I have written. So all this we are going to look at. So currently this is going on. This takes 3 months of time.
So when is it? What time it is?
Morning 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. So don't worry. So guys, I hope I have sent some links in the chat. First of all, can someone verify if you have got those links?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
yes, sir,
So
we got it.
the first link is threads. All the demo classes will be there. Second one is collections. The third one is core Java. Whichever you're comfortable, first listen to those classes. And I mean, don't buy anything, don't get it in anything. First, listen, take your time. These are around close to 7 videos or 7 hours of videos are there. Like every day, I explain. Like today, I have explained serialization, right? Similarly, in the threads, I will explain. Like first, I explain like what is the reason, how does the thread work, what is the definition of a thread. In the collections, I have explained how to create a custom collection. In Core Java, I explain from starting like what is Core Java, how do I do, etc. Okay, so just listen to those recordings, and if you think that it is going to be useful for you, then what you can do is you can reach out to Ashok IT. So let me ping Ashok IT. See, just go to this ashokit.in website. So let me, okay, sorry, I could see. Let me log out. So here you can call this number, okay, or you can do the chat, WhatsApp chat here, okay. Better to call this number. They'll give you more information on what is the fee, etc. First, don't worry about the fees. First, listen to the recordings and see whether is it useful for you or not. Then you can think of enrolling for the fee. Okay, and I will request admin to send all the information over email, like threads, demo videos, data structure demo videos, core Java demo videos, and what is the fee for all this each. So all of you are going to get an email from the Ashok IT on the registered email for this. You have joined this Zoom link using some email, right? On that email, you are going to get an email. So if you are interested to join, then you can use that email. Hope that clarifies. It's not about money. First, understand, like don't join the course and then later you might not feel that it is not useful for me, right? It's a waste of money and time. So just
If
listen to the recordings and then make a decision.
if we join for data structures and algorithms, sir, are we able to do lead code and hacker rank everything, sir?
Yes. So see, I can see no one can guarantee you what question can be asked in the interview, right? Are you with me
Yes.
with that? Yeah. So, but what I can do is during the class, so you can see on my screen. So see for linked list, how to insert middle head, print. See, these are the hacker rank challenges we are going to solve. Similarly, stack, trees also. And for sorting also, see, these are the links that are there. See, some of them are from lead code. See, what website doesn't matter, right? If you know the concept, it can be a lead code, it can be a hacker rank, it can be hacker earth. You can solve anywhere, right? So I am
Yes.
going to see most frequently asked question I have taken. All these are the hacker rank questions. In the class, we are going to open this link and provide a solution and see how many test cases are passed or failed. Like, see, look at comparing a linked list, merge to single list, sorted, cycle detection, all the leaves of a binary search tree, height of a tree, depth of a tree, level order, vertical order, everything I'm going to explain and then solve these problems. And after solving this problem, no one can guarantee you. See, if I have to be honest with you guys, no one can tell you what question can be asked in the interview. But what is the
Yeah.
advantage? This can give you the ability to think. See, for example, now I have told you print all the leaves of a binary search tree. We on the binary search tree, we are going to solve n problems. Now, if the new question is asked, at least it will give you, you can think like this is how binary search tree will work. You can give a guess and then try for the answer. That's the
Yeah.
only thing you can.
Logically, we can develop.
Yes. You may not be 100% sure, right? At least you have an idea. That itself is better, right? Nowadays, I mean, no one is looking at for the solution, guys, like writing a code because everyone is using Chat GPT, GitHub Copilot, all this, right? It gives you the code, but what do you need to have? You need to have an idea, right? How to implement it, how to solve the problem. So solution design is more important nowadays than writing a code.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Could you explain the significance of volatile keyword?
So not now. It's covered in the threads because this is a serialization, right? Not belongs to the volatile.
So for this serialization and deserialization, can we have a end-to-end flow like if we have a MVC based application or a REST API?
Yes, you
So
can do. You can do
yes.
whatever I have explained. Just remove this code. You keep it as a Spring Boot project, and you can create a UI and then a
So
database.
overall, if like if you can explain from
No,
the Choreo
I will not
classes.
be able to explain now because the time is over. I'm already 25 minutes late. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you can
Karthik,
try.
For
Yeah.
the JSON part, just like uh, concisely, I wanted to
Yeah.
know like how it is serialized then
I
on
so
the
if possible, I would see the next time.
We
But
can
for
do
at this point of
payloads.
time, yeah,
Karthik sir,
yeah,
this thread and collection video, we can call and have the pre-recorded videos, right, sir? And
not
will it have the
pre-recorded. This
code?
so these are the live. See, like I explained today,
Hmm.
that session, today's recording is also. I mean, today's class is also recorded. Same
Hmm.
way, I do take demo classes for everything what I teach.
Hmm.
Those are the recording videos you will be given to you.
But if I buy it, the collection ones, will it
Yeah,
have all
collections
the?
will be like we just completed 6 to 7 classes as I mentioned, and
Hmm.
remaining every day morning 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. You can
Hmm.
join morning and then you can listen. That will be a live because it's going.
Hmm. Hmm. But threads is already over, so
Yes,
thread I
correct.
have to buy it, right, sir?
Yes, and see,
And
if at
will
all
it
you are
have a code,
interested,
sir? If it has a code also?
you
Uh,
what code?
the notes and
Yeah, once you enroll, you just let me know. Uh,
hmm.
they you I will be sharing the entire code, notes,
Hmm.
everything. There will be a zip folder.
Hmm.
I'll
Hmm.
be sharing that zip folder with you guys.
Okay,
Don't
sir.
worry about the code, guys. See, the intention here is whatever I teach, you will be able to write the code on your own. I can 90% I can promise you if you are practicing for 15 minutes a day.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was nice discussion with you all. Uh, if you are interested, do watch the demo videos. Thank you.